President of Y2 says the world of education is playing a leading role in reimagining the future. St. Martin's Lions Club replaces the signage that was destroyed back in 2017. And woman drowned in Back Bay. Those are the headlines for Tuesday, September the 22nd, 2020. Good evening, viewers. This is SXM Daily News. I am Valerie Van Putten. And as usual, we have a full newscast for you this evening, so let's get started. In our first story, a woman died early Saturday morning after she fell into the ocean while fishing off the rocks in Back Bay. According to the Dutch Caribbean Coast Guard, 3 persons, 2 men and a woman, were fishing in Back Bay early Saturday morning when a large wave surprised the fishermen and knocked the female into the water. The men jumped in to help her, but she was swept out to sea. One of the men managed to climb back onto shore. The other swam back but could only cling to the rocks and had to be rescued by firefighters and the St. Martin Sea Rescue Foundation. A Dutch Caribbean Coast Guard boat found the woman in the water and pulled her aboard the vessel. The Coast Guard then carried her body to the port. There, paramedics conducted a cardiopulmonary resuscitation, the CPR, on her, but it was to no avail. She drowned in the waters off Back Bay. The St. Martin Lions Club, meanwhile, has taken the bull by the horns, so to speak, by replacing the many signs that were destroyed and knocked down during Hurricane Irma and Maria back in 2017. Speaking to our news department, members of the Lions Club, which included its president, Lion Alphonse Gomes, Pierre Montesant, Windward Road's managing director, and committee chairman of the Lions Club, Mr. John Schamenei. Lions President, Mr. Alphonse Gomes, extended his gratitude to Windward Roads and Central Mix Concrete for their donation. The others also expounded.
We are here this morning on behalf of the St. Martin Lions Club to extend a very much thank you to Windward Roads, Caribbean, Central Mix Concrete, and all the group of companies to say thank you for your generous donation. Our Thought of the Month signs, known now as our Lions Coats, are an inspiration to our community, where we provide awareness to the community on a daily basis. Our project in these signs was destroyed in 2017. It took us a couple years to get them back up and running, but we are very much happy that we are here today to see our signs back up. We also would like to say a special thank you to our Lion John, who has taken this project on his own to make it a fruitful event here today. So thank you very much. On behalf of the Lions Club, we said thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Just more. As a Windward Road Center Mix, also tracks, we want to thank the Lions Club to keep on building happiness together in St. Martin, and I hope these signs bring joyful to everybody in the community, and we can build stronger and keep on going with St. Martin. Thank you very much.
The locations of the Lion signs are on Sucker Garden Road, at Madame Estate in Cold Bay on Union Road, and the last one is at St. John's Estate in the cul-de-sac area. The signs give every month the quotes of the month will be changed to different quotes, and in that way we try to make awareness to the community of St. Martin.
And in more news, the United Nations met on Monday to celebrate their 75th anniversary. The body has existed for some 75 years, and among speakers was our King of the Netherlands, His Royal Highness Willem-Alexander, who spoke at the 75th General Assembly digitally yesterday, September 21st, 2020. In his speech, His Royal Highness paid tribute to the men and women who laid the foundation for the United Nations some 75 years ago, and he made mention of then U.S. President Mr. Harry Truman, calling them builders of a better world.
Today, on behalf of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, I'd like to pay tribute to the men and women who laid the foundations for the United Nations 75 years ago. Not just the statesmen and diplomats, but also the delegates representing workers, businesses, women's organizations, and social and cultural groups. Everyone who helped draft the UN Charter in San Francisco in the spring of 1945. In a radio message, President Truman called them architects of the better world. They came together after half a decade of war and human suffering. The differences between them were great, but they were all driven by an unshakable resolve to build back a better world. Their ambition became reality as more and more countries joined the UN. Both my generation and the next are grateful for the opportunities this has given us. The United Nations hasn't been able to end violence, injustice, and poverty, but it has been able to contain and reduce them. And thanks to the International Criminal Court and international tribunals, impunity may one day be a thing of the past. Billions of people benefit from these achievements in their daily lives. In the canon of world history, the United Nations deserves a prominent place among the greatest forces for good. Now, once again, we face a challenge that knows no borders. The COVID-19 pandemic can't be compared to a world war, but it impacts us all. Young people are seeing their future prospects dwindle. How should we respond? The best way is to ask them what they think. So I'm delighted to give the floor to one of our UN youth delegates, Hajar Yacoubi.
As young people, we can't help but wonder in what kind of world we will be celebrating the next UN anniversaries. We want to live in a world that provides everyone an equal chance to develop their potential, regardless of who they are. We want to live in a world with fundamental human rights, not as lofty aims and fine words on paper, but as a certainty you can always rely on. We want to live in a world that protects both people and planet, a world where we finally put the brakes on the climate crisis, loss of biodiversity, and global warming. We want to live in a world that thinks about the long term. When stating these aspirations as a young person, I have too often also been told that I'm either too optimistic, naive, or too idealistic. However, all I would like to say to that is, imagine what kind of world we could live in if its leaders had just a fraction of the idealism that we share as young people. What a brave world that could be. So all I want to ask you today is to be brave with us.
I hope with all my heart that we can summon the spirit of the UN's founders and say to each other, let our recovery be a leap forward. In his farewell speech in 1953, the very first Secretary General of the UN, Tocqueville, put it like this: our organization reflects the imperfections of our time, but it is also an expression of the most constructive forces of our world and a symbol of hope for the future. On behalf of the 4 countries of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, in Europe and the Caribbean, I congratulate our United Nations on its 75th anniversary. And I wish all architects of the better world, whatever their age, nationality, or background, every success.
And still to come, Member of Parliament concerned about the government's coffers at the end of October. And we'll have the details to that story and much more when SXM Daily News returns.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Welcome back, viewers. This is SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie von Putten. On Monday, September 21st, 2020, a staff member of the Cabinet of Justice advised the Minister of Justice, Anna E. Richardson, that Collective Prevention Services, CPS, had shortly confirmed that they tested positive for COVID-19. On Thursday, September 17th, 2020, was the last day that staff member was on the job. Considering the close contact between the staff member, Minister Richardson, and the Cabinet staff, were contacted by CPS on Monday, September the 21st, 2020, and advised to quarantine immediately, which they did. As such, the offices of the Cabinet of Justice are being cleaned and sanitized. Notice of the positive case was given to the Council of Ministers, the Secretariat, and persons who have been in close contact with Minister Richardson and her Cabinet staff within the past 4 days to advise them of this development. Although my Cabinet staff and I are in quarantine, we are working from home and will continue to execute our duties within the health parameters as prescribed by CPS, stated Minister Richardson. At this present moment, Minister Richardson nor any of the other staff members have symptoms of the COVID-19 virus. Minister Richardson stated that she will rest and remain hydrated by drinking lots of fluids such as herbal tea and water, along with the intake of vitamin C. She plans to expose herself to healthy portions of sunlight and continue to stay positive in faith. I am bidding everyone to stay healthy and continue to take the necessary precautions to remain safe. All persons still working in the government administration building are reminded to uphold mask-wearing protocols while less than 2 meters away from others and hand sanitize regularly. Know that this is a situation that is affecting the entire world and not just St. Martin. As such, we will pull through this. The staffer and her family remains in our prayers and is wished a speedy recovery, Minister Richardson concluded. And in other news, Member of Parliament for the United Democrats, Sarah Westcott Williams, is very concerned about the government's coffers. The MP said that we will be facing zero liquidity at the end of October, and the people of St. Martin are left to wonder how we will fare. There will be no money for salaries, subsidies, doctors, or garbage collectors. The MP expounded more.
40 days before the end of October, and the Parliament and people of St. Martin are left to wonder how we will fare. By the admission of the very Minister of Finance of St. Martin, we will be facing zero liquidity at the end of October. Zero liquidity means 0 guilders to pay anything, be it salaries, subsidies, doctors, or garbage collectors. I have stated on a previous occasion that the Parliament's functioning is being dictated by the government. They appear in Parliament when it suits them and decide what they will divulge publicly. Yet, they religiously can hold press conferences every week where they cannot be questioned in any meaningful way. This week, for example, is a so-called meeting week of Parliament. So far, the only meetings that have been scheduled are committee appointments, one on the decolonization process, which was requested more than 3 months ago, and one with the Minister of Finance behind closed doors again. And the latter only because opposition members insisted that the minister returns to Parliament to give a better explanation on the finances of the country than he has done thus far. Requests generally for meetings by especially opposition factions are left hanging because ministers' schedules do not permit. The opposition members have requested that the Ministers of Finance, TIAT, and VSA appear in Parliament to answer to Parliament on the financial economic outlook for the country, but to no avail. What of the government's finances cannot be divulged publicly, since we already know when the government will run out of money according to their own admission. Is there a plan B? If the government has such a plan, they should be eager to divulge it to the Parliament and to the people of St. Martin. But what do we see? Government goes public when it suits them, but expects Parliament's scrutiny of the government's actions to take place behind closed doors. It's either government has no clue how to get out of the serious quagmire it is in right now, or they are hoping for a miracle, none of which bode well for the future of our country.
And as we continue now with more news for you at this time, with the opening of the 2020 school year and the challenges that is being felt with the online learning, President of the Y2, Claire Elshot, speaking exclusively to our news department's Ricardo William on Thursday, September 17th, was asked how are they planning to monitor and rate the students.
Well, what is happening, it looks like it's a combination from what we are hearing. When they put up the picture, they're not there, they are recording. So they record the classes, you record the classes, which means the teacher would then still expect that probably at a later hour in the night, they go through their work, or later in the afternoon, they still go through their work. That's what the teacher is expecting. And for the same reason, the same teachers would question the same question that you have. How am I to rate? If that is happening, if I have to give, let's say, a test, how would I be able to know, for example, that this test is really and truly, a test that, that these things are really authentic, and that we can really count on this and say, this is what happened. I noticed, for example, when the CXC students had to write their exam, they came physically to the school in, I think it was July the 31st, yes. They physically came to the school to have it done, because basically that online testing, etc., was not approved by all. CXC is the Council of the Caribbean. They did not approve it for all states. I believe only certain places in the Caribbean where they know that that accommodation would not have any kind of hiccups is where they approve it. But for St. Martin, it was not approved. So the children had to come face to face with the reality of we have to come to school and have our exams done.
Now, turning to our weather forecast for September the 22nd, 2020, unstable conditions and lingering moisture in the atmosphere will cause isolated showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms across the region. A loose surface pressure gradient will maintain mostly light winds. Seas will peak at 8 feet due to long-period northerly swells. Small craft operators and sea bathers should exercise caution. So the outlook through Thursday midday, partly cloudy with local showers possible. Now let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, Dwayne Elgin is the new president of SEBA. We'll have the details to that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
Make use of web mobile banking with easy access and direct usage of face recognition, PIN code, or fingerprint. Download WIB mobile banking app and make your transaction from anywhere at any time. For more information, visit wib-bank.net/quick-login.
Welcome back, viewers, and in more news for you at this time. The St. Martin Insurance Brokers Association, SIBA, has elected a new board. The new board, which is spearheaded by its new president, Mr. Dwayne Elgin, was installed following the organization's general elections held on September the 15th. Speaking to the Voice of St. Martin's News Department, Mr. Elgin gave an insight into the board members, and he also outlined some of their objectives of the newly elected board members of SIBA.
So the other board members, you have Vice President Mano van der Kamp, you have Secretary Barbara Pompier, you have Treasurer Mr. Richard Boyd, and you have board member Mr. Joshua Dharamraj, or Kirdio Dharamraj.
And the board was elected during a general elections took place when?
On the 15th of September.
What will be your main focus now that the board has been elected? What will be your main objectives?
Well, our main objective would be continuing to champion the interests of our clients with the insurance companies, because ultimately insurance companies are the ones that provide insurance to our clients. So we have to ensure that the terms that the insurance companies offer are fair and reasonable and affordable, as a matter of fact, and we have to ensure that we as brokers advise our clients adequately. That's what I would say our main focus. We also have our regulators, the CBCS, that we have to continue to engage in order to enact legislation that positively influences our industry and does not necessarily place a burden on the industry.
The St. Martin Insurance Brokers Association had as one of its main points that was to educate the masses as much as possible as it pertains to insurance activities on the island in particular. Will you be continuing with those educational activities?
Definitely, and it starts with us, the brokers. We need to ensure that we are very much in tune with everything that's happening in our industry in order for us to be able to educate our clients. They can be collective efforts and they can be individual efforts. So collective efforts would be with the SIBA-sponsored or SIBA initiatives, and then you have individual brokers when they engage or interact with their clients would have to also execute some of these initiatives.
First and foremost, what will be your priority at this time?
Well, we stated our priority at this time is to tackle the issue of rising health insurance costs and the accessibility to health insurance for a number of clients. So that's our primary focus, and that involves the insurance company. So we're going to be tackling that. And there are other priorities, but we believe this is of most importance at this time, and therefore we'll address this now.
Can you give us an insight, if you may, as to how you intend to tackle those issues you just made mention of, meaning the health insurance and accessibility to the coverage, especially in the light of COVID-19 and its devastation on the impact of the economy of St. Martin?
Well, we intend to go to the insurance companies and discuss some of the concerns that we've already identified. And as we mentioned, the increased cost of health insurance is one. So we need to tackle what is driving the cost of health insurance. And if the insurance companies are forthcoming, then we can also move to areas like government to determine how we can help to reduce the cost of health insurance. If the insurers, for the sake of argument, would indicate that the cost is driven by factors outside of their control. So we first must engage the insurance companies, understand what are the drivers of their costs, and then we can take action thereafter.
And still to come, President of White2 says the world of education is playing a leading role in reimagining the future. And we'll have a detail to that story when SXM Daily News returns. Welcome back, viewers. And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening, World Teachers' Day will be observed on October the 5th, 2020. The president of the Windward Islands Teachers Union, Mrs. Claire Alshot, told our news department that with the COVID situation, the world of education is playing a leading role in reimagining the future. According to the president, the Y2 are also interested in getting live stream, and she will be encouraging teachers to live stream the event so that it can be circulated.
October the 5th, again, World Teachers' Day is going to be observed, and the theme for this year would be Teachers Leading in Crisis, Reimagining the Future. So based on that, of course, with the COVID situation, the world of education right now is playing a leading role in, reimagining the future. Now, basically, the Windward Islands Teachers Union, we are also ambitious in getting some live stream from our teachers with this topic, Leading in Crisis, Reimagining the Future. So we will be scouting a number of our teachers to live stream, and so that it can be circulated also not only locally, but via the Caribbean Union of Teachers and Education International. Well, at the 8th World Congress in Bangkok, where I also participated, the theme at that time was educators and their unions taking the lead. So therefore, we have to continue, though, to take the lead to advance our profession, ensure free quality education for all, and also to promote the democracy and the human and trade union rights in this new situation of the pandemic. So the teachers, our members, via our Facebook page, we will be contacting a number of them, and even as we celebrate in this format, the word and their message can also resound not only in the community of St. Martin, but also throughout the region via our affiliation with the Caribbean Union of Teachers. And of course, those messages will also be shared at Education International's level.
And with that, viewers, brings us to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening. I am Valerie from Putin, thanking you so much for joining me. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.